from the pages of Odin Journal to your speakers. This is The Juice by the Odin Journal. Daviess County News, freshly squeezed.
Welcome to the Juice Podcast.
Thank you very much.
Journal. So I'm your co-host, Grant Swartzentruber. And each week we're going to bring you interesting interviews on local news, politics, and sports. And if we're lucky, we're going to cover faith, culture, and politics. Today, talking with Alfonso Vidal. It's my friend from many moons ago in politics. And I'm very glad to have you today.
Thank you for having me here.
Thanks for making the trip up. So I want to start a little bit with your background and why you're here. And I was telling Alfonso and Dylan before we started, I've known Alfonso for some time.
Yeah.
Just this spring, your daughter gave us a tour of some of the buildings in Washington, D.C. She works for Congressman Messmer.
Correct.
And we met in something called the Indiana Leadership Forum.
Correct.
You live down in Evansville. And I want to know a little bit like why you're in Evansville.
Yeah.
And what you think we're going to talk about today.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of things I know.
Sure.
That you want to talk about. One is the fact that I'm from Venezuela. I know that, like I always say, the accent gets confusing. Everybody thinks I'm from Kentucky, but it's not.
I didn't think that when I met you.
Yeah, right? No, I'm originally from Venezuela.
Okay.
And actually the reason why...
Which is in the news.
Yeah, but very much so. I mean, it should have been a long time ago.
Sure.
But it's okay. I mean, it's things happen for a reason and at the right time, right? Mm-hmm. But I moved, or we moved, my wife and I moved to Evansville back in 97. Okay. I was kidnapped by Colombian guerrillas in January of 97. I know that everybody goes like, what?
Seriously?
But, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's the reason why we moved to Evansville.
Because the FARC? F-A-R-C?
Yeah, the FARC, that's right. So what happened is we were fishing in south part of Venezuela near Colombia. A friend of ours had an airplane. We flew into this fishing spot. Okay, we were going to start fishing. We needed a jump boat to go fishing. So we went to the camp next to our camp, and we find the caretaker of all the camps, hogtied and all the stuff. And we at the time, I mean, we drew our guns. I mean, it was a movie-like experience, to be honest with you.
Okay, so I didn't know about this, but why Evansville?
Well, I'm getting to that. So
okay.
11 days in the jungle, essentially. And then after that, they let us go. They kept the plane, and that's the ransom, They kept the plane, and they let us go. But then after, they kept following me and my father. Okay? And when we found that out, I mean, it was like, yeah, no. I mean, we're not going to stay around to wait to be kidnapped again or do something. And
why were they following you and your father?
Well, because they said once they had done something to one family, which would be the plane for my friends, actually at the time I was only 24 or so, 23. So they said, okay, well, let's find out who these guys are. I mean, if they're together, there's a reason why they're together, right? So they started following us and all that. And it was just a lot of turmoil because of politics involved with it. I mean, there was a lot of things that...
Were you married to Daniela at the time?
We were dating.
Okay.
Yeah, we were dating. As soon as I got out of that, I proposed. And my dad always has said...
Some serious cojones.
Yeah. So, but my dad always said that she organized the whole thing so we can get married.
Praise the Lord.
So, but once that happened, once we realized that we were being followed, we had to kind of make some space. It's like any business, right? I mean, you have a certain return on investment. So we wanted to make it as hard as possible to get us, know. So I had a cousin here in Evansville, and we needed a place that it was, they had all the resources, that it was not very well known in the middle of nowhere,
okay.
So Evansville fit the bill. you know?
I would argue that maybe Kentucky would have been better, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, well, but then the accent would have been a problem.
Yeah, problem. Okay, so you're but you mentioned business, and you are a business guy. Tell me about your background here.
So I'm an engineer, master's in industrial management, and by the way, I'm doing a master's in theology now.
Oh wow, that's St. Meinrad.
Yep, that's in Mindward, but for no other reason than just learning about my faith.
Just to learn.
I mean, yeah, that's right, and kind of keep learning. So that I did that. So and then after that, I started. I was in sales. Well, my first job was in automation, designing machines for testers for heavy truck differentials.
Okay.
And then after that, and then I was involved in quality, ISO, and all that stuff. And after that, I got in sales for plastics for a local company.
You worked for Berry Plastics?
No, it was Omni Plastics at the time. And
okay.
It's no longer now. They were bought out by, it escapes me, but it's right there on Lynch Road in Evansville. But then after that, I started my own company.
Vidal
Plastic, and it was after COVID. It was a struggle. You know, I had to shut it down after COVID. I mean, it was a real struggle. But regardless, then I continued.
So that is no more?
No more.
Okay.
No more. But I continued to be in plastic. I managed a plant in Kentucky, in Henderson. And then after that, I also was.
This is no offense to all our Kentucky.
No. I love my Hendersonian friends.
Sure,
you know. But and then I was involved in a trucking company, and right now I'm involved with some janitorial business. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So very good. So and just to go back to how we know each other. I mean, you came here because you were something of almost like a political prisoner of sorts. I mean, you were fleeing a place that was unsafe in Venezuela,
right?
But it was really related to these Colombian rebels.
Well,
the FARC. So FARC means what?
Let me see if I remember. Fuerzas Armadas Revolucionarias de Colombia.
Okay.
So, which is Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia.
Okay.
But so you have to understand. So once Russia started exporting their ideology, okay, they got a hold of Cuba, okay, with Fidel Castro and all that stuff. Once socialism got entrenched there, they tried to export it to South America. In fact, I wrote an article too about this, where Cuba tried to invade Venezuela. Okay, and the Venezuelan forces, I guess, expelled that initial attempt.
When was this? 60s or 70s or
60s.
Okay.
Late 60s, early 70s. Okay, it was in the Machurucuto beach, you know, and in fact, I mean, there's still one of the ordinances stalking a tree. So they say. I haven't seen that, but so Cuba tried to overthrow Venezuela or the Venezuelan government because of the oil, you know, and that's one of the things. I mean, everybody talks about the oil. Yeah, it's the largest reserve in the world, you know, more than Saudi Arabia, you know. So, so that happened back then. Okay. We were a very strong, democratic, free, capitalistic type economy, and then the 70s happened. The oil prices went down, and it really put a bind into the Venezuelan society. Okay, and there was a lot of challenges that Venezuela happened. It went from $20 per barrel. Okay, where they they calculated the budget under those conditions, and it went to $9.
Wow.
Now, our cost of extraction was still somewhere around $8, okay, I think. So it's still making money, but the challenge is that, of course, when you have a gap that big, you know, it just creates all kinds of problems for the government and, you know, social problems and all that. So doing this, so things got a little better, but not to get out of it. So there was a lot of external debt, you know, that once we got into with that, I mean, that debt was put really.
I read about this,
Yeah.
just the history of Venezuela
Yeah.
ahead of this interview, and so this time period when they were getting into problems and had debt,
Right.
after the good period of time.
Yeah. So imagine you're the government, you're the leader of the world. You make the budget on $19-20. It goes down to $9. Now you're like, okay, what am I
what?
gonna do? We still have all the social programs that had to be taken care of, and all these things that happen. So they go outside and they ask for money, loans, and all that to the international market. They go and do that, and then it's everything that comes.
Some
with that.
places ignore them. Some people that want influence in the Western Hemisphere
Right.
pay them a lot of attention,
Right.
and probably
Well, this was later. This was later. It was still at that point. It was the International Monetary Fund, I believe,
Okay.
the IMF. So then these created kind of a good ground, okay, for the social challenges that we're getting, especially socialism, right? So then Chavez, I don't know if you might remember Hugo Chavez.
Hugo Chavez.
Yeah, Hugo Chavez was escapes me, but I think it was captain.
Yes, he was a military man. That's
Yeah,
right.
he was a military man, and he organized a coup d'etat that failed. Okay. This is in 92. Now, we were all excited at the time. Initially, we were like, oh my God, I mean, they're finally going to, all these corrupt politicians, and they're going to get rid of, they're going to fix, they're going to be the saviors. But immediately, my grandmother, who was, of course, lived through all the dictatorships and all that stuff, she goes and says, initially it's very exciting, but then after that you go like, whoa,
You got to govern.
they remember what a dictator was, right? Now the dictators, I mean, Marcos Pérez Jiménez and Gomez and all that, they built the
some of
country.
these names in there.
Yeah. They built the country because they gave the concessions to the United States to help them build the oil industry in Venezuela. Okay, but with that, I mean, it came out bonanza. The 50s was one of the strongest economies of the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
I heard that it was. I mean, in the 1950s, Venezuela was, gangbusters and good. And I saw pictures like in the 1950s, 60s, maybe even into the 70s, and just like how nice it was.
It was wonderful. It was really a wonderful place to grow up, to be educated, to be. I mean, whatever I tell you, I mean, I cannot describe with words everything that it was so good. That's why. I mean, it had everything that we needed.
Sure.
We were spoiled, to be honest.
And you told me even when we were communicating ahead of time that now that, and I want to go back to your story, but now that things have changed just in the last week in Venezuela, the U.S. is exerting some influence there.
Yeah.
Removed the president.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of Venezuelans that are going to move back.
Well, and everybody's very excited and hopeful. Okay. And we'll get into that. I mean, it's key. The key is that the downturn of the oil industry in the 70s with the prices and all that, it really put hurt in Venezuela. Remember, 90% of our gross domestic product, it's oil. So just think about that. I mean, everything oil, right? So there was another president that came in. See, and to give a little bit of, my grandfather died when he was 33, but he helped start one of the political parties in Venezuela, which was COPEI. He was best friends with Rafael Caldera. They actually went to a Catholic, or to Rome, essentially, to be trained as what they call social Christians. Now, that social, escapes me the name, but the Catholic Church tried to implement a lot of social teaching.
Catholic social teaching, sure.
Yeah, but beyond that, that I think has been a problem in South America, because South America kind of evolved into almost socialism, which is not what the original intention was.
Kind of a famous quote that I read maybe in the opinion page of Wall Street Journal is that the last communist in the world will die in a South American university.
Yeah.
And so even under the West,
That's
Pope
right.
that you saw, Pope Francis. You just heard a lot of these things. It's very influential because you've got sort of these ever-present teachings
Right.
of
So-
socialism, haves and have-nots. And
It's a fertile ground for socialism. So instead of taking over like in Cuba, okay, by armed forces, okay, it was decided to take on Venezuela using the Syrian model, which was a slow change of society, which, by the way, it's very much of what we're seeing here in many ways with the Democrat Party. I mean, this
and you're a Republican, just so we're clear.
I am a Republican.
Yeah.
I'm
We've seen
convinced
each other at the state convention,
That's right.
and we met because we were in a Republican training program.
Every 2 years, right?
Every
So-
2 years.
So yeah, but I am a Republican because, you know, to be honest, I mean,
You think the ideas are better?
well, it's not only better. I mean, the other ones have been proven wrong.
Yeah.
And everybody
Background.
tells me, "Oh, no, this is a new
Trust me,
socialism." Trust me, it's a new
It's a
socialism.
new deal.
I already heard that in Venezuela. It was called the socialism of 21st century. Call it whatever you want. It's still socialism. It doesn't work. Actually, it works pretty good when they implement it, but they destroy the society and everything that goes with them. So, long story short, Chavez then
And Chavez
gets freed.
was famously difficult, famously bad for Western ideals.
Yeah, but I mean, how he got to that point. So he fails in a coup d'etat, right?
In 92.
In 92, he gets in jail. They jail him, okay? Rafael Caldera gets elected president again because in Venezuela at
Who was
that time...
tight with your family.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, my grandfather's friend, which he was so in Venezuela you have a 5-year term for president, and you couldn't be reelected but 10 years after. So you couldn't go back to back 5 to 5, right? So you had to go 5, 10 years and then reelected again. So he gets reelected after the failed coup d'etat. Caldera.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, I cannot understand it. You know, it had to be some real massive pressure. He frees and pardons Chavez. Okay, so Chavez starts running for election. Okay?
Presidente.
El Presidente, but he gets trained in Cuba. Okay, hence why all the Cubans. In fact, his personal guard, his Secret Service was all Cubans. That's why you see in the news that so many Cuban soldiers were killed. That's a reason. So they get
In the most recent event, there was like 40 people killed in that event, and like most of them were Cuban.
I wrote about this, and it got published in the USA Today.
I want you to give me that because
Cubans-
we're gonna put it in the show notes. I remember you telling me about this. Go ahead.
So I mean, it's Cuba had so everybody says that this was a takeover by Trump on the Venezuelan government and all that stuff. We had that with Cubans. That's what
Cuba had taken over.
Cuba had taken over, and then Russia, and then China. But Cuba took over the government in Venezuela
Through the
by
socialist-
infiltrating
The
spies.
socialist ideology, the Marxist
Yeah.
communist ideology, which is
Yeah,
it's oil and water
yeah.
with the West.
But here's the thing: the vice president under Hugo Chavez, I believe, one of the time, because they can get appointed and all that stuff. He was Tarek El Aissami. Okay, Venezuelan, very Venezuelan name, right? No, so he was from Syria, or his dad was from Syria, and he was brought in back in the, I think it was 60s, 70s. The dad was to insert, you know, the socialism and Cubanism using the Syrian model. Wow. My wife and I talk about this all the time. People didn't even believe us. It's like, what? Yeah, because it was the same thing to us. Cubans told us, you better leave the country right now, back when Chavez got the power, because it's going to happen the same thing in Cuba. And
He took power in the 90s.
In 98.
98. Yeah.
Yeah. So we all said, Cubans, nah, that's a little island. They're not going to do the same to us. We're a rich, strong oil country. Yeah, right. No, they took over, you know. So what happened, and what I'm getting
kind
is,
of a long game.
so my wife and I came here after the kidnapping, right? And we were going to be here for a couple of years, you know. In fact, it was only 3 months at first. But my dad convinces me to finish my engineering degree at UE, okay? and then got married with my wife, come here, and have the first child here, my Alfonso the fifth. But Alfonso, when we had a lot of health problems at the beginning and all that stuff, and I found myself saying, I don't want to go through what my father went through, when I was kidnapped, and I believe that this guy at the time Chavez was elected, okay, rightfully so. Okay?
He was elected rightfully so in 98.
At first, at first he was. He was elected. And then the problem was, for me at least, which nobody, I told my wife, I said, we're staying in the United States. Well, why? My dad called me, said, are you crazy? We're going to get rid of this guy in 5 years. I said, no, the changes that he's proposing is for generations to come, which sadly became true.
Here we are until last week.
Yeah, until last week. That's right. Because they took over power. They changed the Constitution, okay?
Wow.
The Constitution was solid. But they changed it then to allow re-elections.
Well, the proof is in the pudding. Things were good for 3 decades. Great for 3 decades. And you were born in the 70s?
4 decades, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was born in 73.
Okay.
So then we decided to stay because I'm thinking this is going to be a problem. Everybody said, nah, you're crazy. My brother, there's lots of money to be made.
How many kids in your family?
So it's myself is the oldest, us the oldest. My brother, he lives in Panama right now. And then my sister still lives right next to my parents in Venezuela. And my sister has a family. My brother is married to a Panamanian, by the way. Actually, I think he's half Panamanian, half American. But all the every Venezuelan family has gone through this.
Sure.
Everybody's out, or most people are out. Our parents' generation still in
half the population, a quarter of the population had left during the.
Our generation. My wife's chemical engineer. My wife's a chemical engineer. My wife's chemical engineer class. Out of 33, only 3 are still in Venezuela, I believe. The brain drain is humongous.
It's real.
So I do think maybe not our generation, or maybe not the people that was able to leave at the time. We were blessed. We had the means and the story, the whole. We were able, to apply legally to a visa. We did. We stay here legally, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We became citizens in 2013. But
to be fair, in part, your politics has made it easier for you, too.
No.
Is that right? Or
no? That didn't matter then. I don't know now, but didn't matter then. We were we did it right. But we had the opportunity to do it right.
Is it expensive?
Yeah. So it took a lot of years, and I can tell we calculated between the lawyers. How
I love lawyers. They're the best.
So between the lawyers that the companies hire and our lawyers and all, we calculated $70,000.
$70,000 for you and your wife.
Through the years, and me and my wife. But we finally became citizens. I cried like a baby. She didn't cry because she's tougher than me.
What year?
2013.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I met you shortly after that because I remember you.
That's right. Because I didn't get involved in politics because I couldn't get involved in politics until after that.
I'll tell you what, Indiana's a better place because you're here.
Thank you.
Southwest Indiana's a better place.
Maybe some of the Democrats don't think so, but
no, they don't. They don't like it if somebody who has the background that you have can talk about it with some force and be like, hey, this is not good.
Yeah.
What we have with people holding up this bad thing, and we talked about it the last guy that I interviewed, the warmth of collectivism that the new mayor of New York City, he talks about the warmth of collectivism. I don't think that you would have that same view. Right?
It's a very convincing ideology. And what it needs is a weak middle class. Okay. And that happened in Venezuela. We had a very strong middle class when we had a strong you know,
3 or 4 decades.
yeah. I mean, it was great. I mean, really. I mean, people would come to Venezuela. I mean, Spanish and Portuguese, Italians. I mean,
No, when I was reading about it, I was like, man, Venezuela was the spot.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Even before like the Cuban Revolution, you think about Cuba.
Yep.
It was like the place that people would go in the 40s and 50s.
That's right.
It was like an American playground.
Yep. Yeah.
It's wild.
But once again, the problem with the 70s and the oil prices, once we started losing our middle class, and there was a bigger gap between the haves and the have-nots and all that
It
stuff,
was fertile ground for this.
then socialism it was like a shoo-in. Yeah, I mean, it was immediately.
So socialism is, I mean, it's when you think about the Western Hemisphere, you think about Cuba,
Yeah.
you think about Venezuela.
And when I say socialism, it's just kind of a nice way to say it again, communism as well.
Yeah,
You know?
the Marxist-Leninist theology, say Karl Marx,
Yep.
and that it was popularized maybe in the early 20th century. There was all these social revolutions,
Right.
in Russia, in China,
Yeah.
and attempted in many other places, but those are the places you think about.
I mean, they're vocal about it. They want to take over the
I
world.
believe they're right. It's a superior system.
Yeah. And I don't know if they believe they're right. The
don't?
leaders, it's only one reason why they really do it.
Control.
Now, the underlings, they swear by it. But the leaders know very well that all they're doing is manipulating the masses, right? To be able to get into the riches or the power, okay, either or, okay, to control, and they go hand by hand, right? But then they say, okay, so now we convince them to vote for us. We always blame, I mean, the leaders, right, say we always blame somebody else for the problems. So it was the U.S. or it was the Catholic Church or it was the haves or whatever you can to divert the attention from the problem.
Blame game.
The other thing is it would be siloing the society. So that's why you see here how the Democrats are siloing us between Latinos and whites and blacks and gays and this and that. And everybody has a label. Okay, and you have to buy back
Identity politics.
identity politics. So that is a problem. They did the same thing in Venezuela. Okay, so Chavez would say, "Oh, every 6 months he had a new enemy to go after."
That's crazy.
So that's what happened. You know.
So we know Hugo Chavez. He was president in '98.
Yep.
Take me forward in Venezuelan history.
I can't remember when he died, but he
died just like 10 years ago, 5 years ago?
something like that. Yeah.
Well, he was president for that entire time, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because once they took hold of power, they're not going to let it go.
Maduro was in charge for maybe the last 10 years?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
10 to 12.
Yeah, I mean, it's all a blur after a while.
But they're all Chavistas.
Chavistas, that's right.
They're all socialists. They're all Marxist-Leninists, yes?
Yep. But again, they know very well why they're doing it. The ideology is just an excuse to get to the money. So the system of power and corruption that Chavez implemented in Venezuela, was carried forward by all the other Chavistas, including Maduro. What Maduro did was that he expanded the criminal activities, that the military and all that were involved with,
So now we're getting to the point of why the United States allegedly why they were involved in Venezuela.
So we got two things. And before we get into why the U.S. got involved, because we should have never let it go. I mean, it was, Bush, when Bush got involved with the Middle East and then Obama and all that, they forgot about the Western Hemisphere and got us in trouble, I think. So because we are, America first, right? And we should be, every country should be America first, Venezuela first, whatever that country is, you should advocate for that.
They're the ones paying the taxes, and they're the ones that are supporting this government.
It's like my boss, old boss used to say when I got upset with a purchasing manager, he said, don't get upset with a purchasing manager. You're trying to sell the highest price you can, and he's trying to buy at the lowest price you can. It's the same thing with the relationship between countries. I mean, you have to advocate for your people. I mean, that's what you get elected for, right? And but the same thing, the Italian prime minister should advocate for her own people, not for Americans. Yeah,
Meloni.
And that's how that tension works. is the back.
But you're making it sound like a zero-sum game as well. And is it your opinion that the order of operation should be the West first? Well, U.S. first, then the West, and then everywhere else. Is that right?
Again, us looking at us. Yes. Okay. Now, the Italians need to do whatever is best for them. The Spanish have to do whatever is best for them. Okay. Now, if that is best, which is normally the case, then we all get together and say, hey, what's better for everybody? And in this case, I believe that a stable Venezuela is better for everybody.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. And that's why it's America first.
A stable Indonesia is better for everyone. So this is where I'm going to push back.
Yeah.
Why do you believe, because you told me this earlier, that this was a good thing a week ago. What day was it? January the 2nd?
Yep.
January the 2nd?
3rd, I thought.
3rd? Okay. It's my birthday.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing about the news. And my brother comes over. He's like, dude, did you see what happened in Venezuela this morning or last night? And I was like, no. He's like, look at it. So I'm checking it out. I'm immediately like, I wonder what Alfonso thinks about this.
Yeah.
So why did we do that? And why do you believe that was a good action?
So a couple things with that. So elections, and before we get into the why, the elections are important, right?
They have consequences. They are important.
They have consequences. They're important. When the Chavistas took over, they also took over the Electoral College, and they manipulate the Electoral College after those elections, and then elections did not matter anymore. In fact, Maria Corina Machado, who won the Nobel Prize, who's, by the way, a distant cousin of mine. But it's
famoso.
No, it's just distant. But the point that I'm trying to make is we've been following her back when she confronted Chavez back 25 years ago.
Wow.
And she was tough. She is tough as nails, So, but she was able for the first time to prove how they were doing the scam with elections, which is very important in the U.S. as well. Because you know what machines they use? Smartmatic. Yep. And Venezuelans are some of the investors in that company. And those are the same machines that we use here.
So is it clear to you that if we use that company that we have a problem?
I don't know that. I mean, it really is not clear. But it's like, whoa. I mean, it's a red flag. Don't you think? I mean, we have rigged elections in Venezuela, and so I'm getting to this. So have that been proven? I don't know. I'm not smart enough. I'm just a dumb engineer. Well, but the point is that then after that,
you're not dumb, Alfonso. But you're right that a trademark of the West, of the Christian West, is free and fair elections.
Exactly.
We have to.
Yeah, because in a way, I mean, I believe in term limits, right? But the best term limit is the election.
Let the people decide.
Right. Let the people decide. So, but let's not get into that. That's a different subject. But,
this is fascinating. I love talking about this.
But that's the point. So why is it America first? Because how did that influence our elections here? We don't know. But we better know, right? We better dismiss it or do something about it if it's right. That's why in so many levels is America first. Okay. There are bad actors in Venezuela, right in our Western hemisphere, within 4 hours flight to Miami. Okay.
But those existed 10 years ago.
What?
Those bad actors.
Yeah.
That same.
We didn't do anything about it.
And they existed in Cuba.
Even more than that.
Okay.
But Cuba was nothing compared
the Cuban
to
Revolution was in this 1960.
Yeah. But I mean, they couldn't. The best that they could do is to influence South America. Okay, because they couldn't get in the United States, and part of it was because of Cubans are strong Republicans.
They are. You look at Florida, but for the Cuban Revolution, all those people who were who saw their country land go downhill and get drugged down by Marxist-Leninists, Castro.
Yeah.
If those people don't leave the country and go to South Florida, we don't have the heavy Republican conservative influence in South Florida that we have.
So Marco Rubio. I mean, he's my hero.
But for Marco Rubio, well, he is loved right now.
Yeah.
I mean, he is at the top of his power right now.
Right.
But obviously he's hated by by many people.
Yeah, sure.
Right. But Marco Rubio, a child of the anti-Castro, of an anti-Castro Cuban family. So of course, I mean, but for Marco Rubio being the Secretary of State right now, we probably don't have the events of the last week.
That is correct.
Because he knows.
He knows it. See, the thing is, I love the United States. I love every friend and families that I've met here. In fact, one of the reasons why we stayed in Evansville is because we like the families and the family environment and the Catholicity of this area. Okay, I mean, we stayed there. I mean, we came for other reasons, but we stayed because of that. All right. So, but having said that, Americans tend to be very ignorant about other problems other than what they have right in front.
Very much so. Very much so.
And that's in so many ways, that's good, because then you are the best at making that little nut, that little widget, you're the best. And nobody else in the world can tell you how to do it better. But the challenge is that once escapes from that, it's a challenge.
The ignorance is something of a challenge, which is why I wanted to have you on the show. I mean, if I would ask my kids, we have maps up at the home, and if I would ask them where Venezuela is, they might be able to find it, but it would take them some time.
Yeah.
We have friends who are, Joel Padgett. Yeah. Joel and Anita. Yeah. Anita is from Colombia.
Right.
And so they know where Colombia is at, right? Yeah. It connects to Panama.
Right.
It's the kind of the top, and Venezuela would be right there by it. But I do think that as Christians, we need to know what's going on.
That's right.
And these people, they're in terrible systems.
Especially the vote. The power of the vote is both a responsibility and a right. And I think that everybody looks at it as a right and not a responsibility. I think the responsibility of having the correct and the right decision that goes beyond headlines, is very important. And that's why I try to teach that to my children, because I mean, every vote counts. And I know people say, no, every vote counts, especially every vote casted, for sure.
Wow.
I
think you're right. With freedom comes responsibilities. Right. There's obligations that go with this incredible amount of freedom that we have here. And to waste it, I mean, we could be very much like Venezuela in 1975.
And Ronald Reagan said it. Yeah, Ronald Reagan said it. The only way the United States can be taken down is by doing it from the inside. Just like Venezuela, it happened in Venezuela. And freedom is not farther away than one generation.
Amen.
So
we're going to include that in the show notes too. That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so Maduro right now was arrested.
Yeah, and he was arrested. So the thing is that the criminal enterprises got expanded under Maduro because he needed to. He needed to give. So Chavez had the whole of the military because he was the military guy, right? Everybody, they respected him. Maduro takes over. He couldn't, but he gave money away. How did he give money away? By criminal enterprises. He gave every group something to be in charge of. I mean, for example, it was the food supply, and it would be a corruption. I mean, shipments of chicken would be buried in the ground if they didn't pay the right amount to the people in the ports, right? But one of the things that they got into it, and that this is their downfall, Maduro's downfall, is that they created el cartel de los soles. The soles, sons in Spanish, means like the sun and the moon and all that stuff. Okay, all right. Is the number of sons of our generals. Like here, the stars, a 5-star general. Well, in Venezuela, it's a 5-star son. El cartel de los soles is because it's the cartel of the generals.
Wow.
Okay, so all that funneled through to the commander-in-chief, which was Maduro. Okay, they let them do whatever they want. Now, this is beyond, all the oil and all the natural resources. And please ask me about Margaret Thatcher and natural resources in a little bit. Okay. But all these things happen, okay? But they chose to get involved with narco-terrorism, narco-guerrillas, and narco distribution. And that's the downfall. Because essentially...
Because it started impacting the United States.
It started impacting the United States. Well, for real. I mean...
Well, but I'm going to push back on that because people say, oh, fentanyl. Talk about fentanyl. I remember that was the reason that we initially put tariffs on Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, is it coming in from everywhere? So just put tariffs on everybody so they stop with the fentanyl?
No, I get that.
Mean,
I get that. But when you have convolution of factors in Venezuela, okay, that include, okay, the guy is a dictator. Everybody says, oh, we took over the president. No, you took over a dictator, okay? That has.
But he's not the only one that exists.
No, not at all. But he's the only one that is strategically placed with lots of money, okay, and to be able to harm the United States in a meaningful way. We talk about Cuba. What are they going to do? Throw sugarcane at us? Think about it.
Old cars.
Yeah. No, I mean, but the U.S. was able to then sell oil to China, Russia, etc., which makes them stronger. Now, okay, so you say, is it all about oil? In reality, my humble opinion, yeah, it is.
Okay. Well, I was curious what you were going to say.
Well, yeah.
Well, you remember,
but what do you think China and Russia wanted? An arepa recipe? No, they wanted the oil, and they helped the Maduro regime with strategic alliances. And for example, there is an island in Venezuela that it's full of Russians working the social media channels. Okay, wow. I mean, what? You know, they're there to erase all the bad news from the Maduro government.
Okay, in your opinion, if I wasn't asking a Venezuelan, maybe it's different. Was Maduro he's the linchpin that you think needs to go?
Okay,
because right now we have Delcy Rodriguez.
Yeah. All the other ones are bad as well.
Okay, so what are we doing?
An example. Look at what happened in Iraq when Paul Bremer disbanded the armed forces without telling Bush. I believe that's what the book says. They went away, but they stayed with the guns and all that to fight the U.S. I think this time they said, nah, let's not do that. Let's give him an example. Within 4 minutes, they took Maduro. The guy couldn't even get to the door of the bunker, okay, that he was supposed to get in, okay? Think about that.
So I don't think a lot of people have a problem with that initial action. Right. I mean, I think there's even Democrats that would say, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow, right?
What they do have a problem with is the scope expansion. What if we're there in 50 years?
Okay, so I'll tell you. I'm a strong believer that by not taking all the actors, all the bad actors, the Delcy, the Diosdado, the Padrino Lopez, they're incorporating a solution. We might not like it. Venezuelans don't like it. It's like, why are you going to keep it? Well, they're going to make money. Yes, we realize. But they have been able to take power for so long that to dislodge that power, and this is why I said that Maria Corina is family. Maria Corina, even though I believe has all the votes and the support of the
Nobel
people,
Peace Prize winner.
Yep, she has all the support, all the vote, but she has to gain traction within the military. And for that's why the bad actors were left in there. Now, Marco Rubio said it very clearly. She's going to do, Delcy is going to do whatever
Delcy
we
Rodriguez,
tell them. Yeah.
The current president.
He's going to do whatever we say. And look, they started releasing, and I will say these.
She's not acting like she's going to do whatever they say.
Because they have to save face, right?
Sure,
they have to save face inside Venezuela. But they already started releasing prisoners.
Okay.
Only 7, not all of them. My uncle sent me something and said, oh, you have to start talking about this. Part of it is true. Not all of them. But look at it. There was a flight from Cuba that got rejected. It was not allowed to land.
Wow.
So
things are changing.
Things are changing. It's not going to change in a dime. Okay, it's going to change. It's going to change.
How long should we be there, though? How long should we be, to quote the President of the United States, how long should we be running Venezuela?
Well, you're not going to hear President Trump commit to anything, as he has done in the past. He's going to have all his open options. Okay, but I think that within you're going to see a progressional, stronger opposition. Okay, and I'm going to give you a timeline in terms of month, and I'm going to give you also a timeline in actions in what happened. So I think once you see an opposition being strong and elected to positions, and especially look at the military, if military generals and captains and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, are appointed, okay, from the opposition, okay, that's when you start seeing a real change happen, okay? Having said that, I think that it's going to be year, maybe a couple of years, but it's going to be a diminishing involvement. Okay. Now, here's the other part.
Right now, we're running it.
Yeah. If not, we would lose it. All this would have been for nothing.
But we got the bad guy.
Only the one.
See, this is what I'm saying. This is why I think there's a lot of people, maybe half the country, maybe more, that'd be like, I don't know that we should have done that. I mean, even Trump was totally against it 6 weeks ago. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And then it happens on January 3rd.
Yeah. So, but again, you have this progression, okay? So you have to be pragmatic about how you do things. We have the Iraq example. We don't want to go through that again. So what, do we disband everybody and take everybody? Who's taking over? There's going to be a power vacuum. Okay? And then they're going to stay around. Okay. So the best thing is keep them around, okay? But under the fear that they can be next. That's why Maduro happened.
I would say, I mean, look at polls. There are many people who are opposed to this conceptually. They see it as a...
Yeah, I know. And somewhat, I do too. To be honest.
And that surprises me. Like, just based on our conversation, I thought you'd be 100% like this was... So, this is my position. Mm-hmm. Maybe this first step needs to happen, but we've got to have a plan.
Oh, I'm sure they have a plan.
Well, I'm sure, but
they're not going to tell us what the plan is.
Don't you think they would have said that when Iraq started or Vietnam started? Or,
well, I mean, in Iraq, they should have had a plan, and somehow Bremer kind of messed that up or something. I cannot tell you, nor I can tell you. You've been in leadership, right? You know, people think that they know more than the actual the people that make the decisions. It happens all the time. It happens to me all the time. You're in a committee, you're making a decision, and say, "Oh, they make the decision because of this and this and that." You have no clue, you know. So, but having said that, I think that so not to tout my own thing, you know, pat my own back type thing, but I think I've been right about predicting what's going to happen when I say only because I know enough, okay, to be dangerous, right? Mm-hmm. And I know enough about the culture in the United States on what to do. So I predicted to my mom. I've been talking to her, but she's like, "Oh, they have to come and help us and all that." Mom, it's not going to happen. They are not. There's no political stomach anymore for another war. But this is not a war. This was we're going to make it.
Well, that's the question. That is we had a vote this week in the U.S. Senate. Yeah. Okay, and I do want to talk to you about completely. This. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about that because we had two Indiana senators.
Yeah.
One voted for.
Yep.
The War Powers Resolution. Yep. One voted against.
Yep.
It failed because 5 Republicans joined all the Democrats in opposing it. Yep. Right. They're saying we cannot have a war. We are not authorizing a war in Venezuela. Is that correct?
I love Senator Young.
Because he's getting a lot of flack right now.
Big supporter.
Okay.
I giving him money and all the stuff. I can still hug him. But I think he was wrong on this one.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think he was wrong because by not allowing the freedom or the freedom to decide what to do and limit those options to the president, the Venezuelans, the Chavistas, are going to take advantage of that. So I would have rather, not have anything that hamstrings the president's hands, I guess, on this. just because I know what the Chavistas can do. They will manipulate you like you have no idea. You don't even know what's going on. And next thing you know, you're doing what they want. I mean, I'm telling you, this happened over and over and over. Okay. And you don't want that to happen.
It's part of the ideology.
Yeah.
Marxist-Leninist ideology is you can trust me to be what I am.
Listen, Paul Kunger,
which is evil.
He's an author, and read A Pope and a President book.
Okay.
About John Paul II and Ronald Reagan, and how they manipulated and how they use what is called character assassination, okay, using the media. It's unbelievable. Read Paul Alinsky's book on Rules for Radicals.
Oh, Alinsky.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Barack Obama's friend.
Yeah. And Hillary Clinton. It's how to radicalize society, and essentially what they're saying, you tell a lie, a big lie, okay, and then you get maybe 10% of what you were asking for. Okay, that's paraphrasing a whole book, right? But that's what it is.
Wow.
This way of doing things, they've been doing to us, to conservatives, for the past 70 years. Okay, in the world. Okay, and this is what's happening. This is why hamstringing or limiting the options for the president to act, it's a problem, because they know it and they're going to use it against it. So
that's a fair point, because I wouldn't have thought of that. But and I know that you're a supporter of Senator Young.
Yeah.
And so I know, but he's quite the internationalist. I mean, when I've talked to him, he wants to talk about Yemen. Yeah. He wants to talk about all these places, and I'm like, I don't know that much about it. But your opinion is you support Senator Young, but he was wrong on this particular vote.
I mean, anybody can be wrong. I mean, the last time I thought I was wrong is when I thought I was wrong.
I got you. And that doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, no.
Okay, the Senate vote. We talked about Marco Rubio. You mentioned Thatcher, and I want you to talk about Thatcher a little bit. But
and I'll tell you just really quick about Thatcher.
Yeah. Margaret Thatcher was the prime minister of the UK in the 1980s, tight with Reagan and John Paul II, whomever. I mean, they were kind of freedom fighters in a sense.
It was the right combination of people at the right time to overthrow communism or defeat communism, whatever you want to call it. But the point to that is that the recent video I saw, the natural resources, oil and anything else, doesn't make a country wealthy. Okay, what makes it wealthy is the system in place to allow the people, okay, to develop the companies and the wealth through, that fostered system or fostered community on society that then, in freedom, that allows them to create the wealth.
Yeah, okay. And the cream rises to the top. Yeah,
right. It's not the natural resources. I mean, you see it. Russia has a lot of oil too. That's not what made Russia wealthy. What made the United States wealthy is not so much everything that we have here, but it's the people and the system in place, that allow freedom,
rule of law,
the capitalistic,
the way we use capital.
Exactly.
That's right.
Right. The market economy, all these things. That's what it is. So Venezuela
that's what makes the West
very wealthy.
It's what makes the West great. In some of these places, the East that have very rich in resources, and they struggle.
So that is that. So everybody complains about the United States going and take on oil. I get it. I understand. Only if you see it under the eyesight or the idea that the resources themselves is what make the wealth. Or this is what makes us Venezuelans wealthy. It's not. It's not. The oil has been under control of some thugs, okay, nationalized, and then given away to Cuba. You know how Cuba pays for that oil that we send them all the time? With doctors. And that in reality, they're spies. I mean, think about it. Now, the United States is going to go in there. It's going to take oil. Yeah, probably. Okay. But it's going to implement a system that is going to allow Venezuelans to develop their skills, My grandfather started a law firm, okay, that serviced Shell.
Un abogado.
Yeah. A lawyer like you, that's right. And he did very well because the system was in place to allow him to use everything that he was, everything that he could do, to make their own wealth. That's the key. It's not the oil itself. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody. If not, I wouldn't be in front of you. I would be in Florida, drinking a little margarita or something, because I had oil, right? Mm. Well, no, I don't have oil. The oil is with the bad actors, the thugs and the Russians and the Chinese and all
rule
that
of law. They have a Marxist-Leninist theology.
So you tell me that
ideology.
The U.S. is going to come in and it's going to take oil and it's going to organize us and it's going to show us the way again. And I go, count me.
Sign me up. Yes, but from your typical American point of view, you get why people are chilly to this idea. Sure. I mean, it's one thing to do this initial thing, in and out. But for the long haul, the United States of Venezuela, that seems it sounds like some of these other things that we've done that have failed.
All right. So in this case, this is when I have to say, well, just trust me, we're not going to be there that long.
Okay.
There's no interest. There's no interest in President Trump to stay there long.
We'll see if that's the case. Oil, that you said earlier, the reason we're there is oil. Just in the last 24, 48 hours, President Trump asked for big oil executives to invest in Venezuela. And what did they say?
I didn't catch that.
They were chilly in how they responded.
Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
So
you know how many times they have taken the
he says, no, I'm going to protect you guys. I'm going to protect you.
Right.
And you know what they're thinking? We've got 2.5 years, maybe.
So I'll tell you, I'll give you a response of how my wife. So my wife graduates chemical engineering, working for Procter & Gamble. Okay.
Yeah.
And she asked for a leave of absence. Procter & Gamble does not give a leave of absence to go and do an MBA. She came to do an MBA. It was because of the kidnapping and all that stuff. But she asked for it. And the executive at the time at Procter & Gamble in Venezuela, okay, they had a huge building, which they left like that. Now here's the thing. The guy was like, but why do you want to leave and try, you got everything with us and all that? She said, well, because you guys can leave anytime No, we're not leaving Venezuela. We're here. Look at this brick building and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And she said, all of this is gone if you put somebody else. At the time, we didn't know Chavez. Okay. Mm-hmm. That is what they're icy, like you call it, because Trump is going to be there. Chile. Yeah. Trump is going to be there. Who's coming next? I mean, if we got another Biden coming,
we got problems.
We got problems, and the oil executives are like, that's why. A couple of people have told me is that China has been trying to sell to the world the fact that they have an open market, an open economy, okay, but with a dictatorial type government that works better because they're not into the
there's no free and fair elections.
Yeah, this thing of having convinced you of something that I want to do. Yeah. There's none of that, right?
Authoritarian. This is what I say.
This is what I said. This is what
I got no term limits. I do what I do what I want.
Right. Well, that's fine and dandy, but then how about the little guy in the street trying to survive, right? That's the problem. So yeah, it's a challenge, and President Trump is doing the right things right now. But what's going to happen in another 3 years, wherever we are in the election cycle, right? But what's going to happen? Who's going to come after that?
That's a good question.
All executives are going to be like hanging, like, we got this bag, and now what do we do? And twice in history, Venezuela has taken concessions away. The first one, okay, by Carlos Andrés Perez, but he paid. Which, okay, fair enough. He paid for the contract up front.
And what do you mean by that? Twice that they've gone back on whatever their...
Yeah, and then Chavez was the second one. Chavez took it away. Chavez took away Cemex, which was the cement company from Mexico.
CEMEX.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And he just took it away. Done. You're gone.
You're done. This is ours now.
Yeah.
Moving
so
on.
Nationalizing it, right?
Yes.
So yeah, the old executives are like, yeah, we're gonna go through this again.
I don't want to put in $100 billion,
right? Exactly,
and have that disappear.
Exactly.
Okay. There's something of and I'm not trying to help you make the case that this was good, or that there's priority, or that there's a background in us doing this. But Noriega was the Panama leader, dictator, whatever you want to call him, bad guy, narco terrorist, right? Mm-hmm. in the West, and they removed him, right?
Yeah.
Now, we're still not in Panama. Panama's economy is booming.
Yep.
Is that how you view that?
That's exactly what you can see it in my Facebook post and all that stuff. You got to look at this as Japan, as Panama, not as Iraq and Afghanistan and all that. Totally different.
Well, what if it ends up like the latter and not the former?
I mean, there's always a chance of that, but we don't have the conditions. The conditions are more similar to Panama and to Japan than to the Middle East.
Okay, so related to that, and we do probably need to wrap up. I mean, we're getting this has been fascinating, but something called the Monroe Doctrine, which is very popular right now to talk about. It's 205 years old. James Monroe was president and had a view that this is how we're going to handle foreign countries' involvement in the Western Hemisphere.
We should have never forgotten about that, and we did by.
But hold on, we get involved in Europe.
We did.
You've heard of Ukraine,
right? But we shouldn't.
Heard of Russia?
Yeah, we shouldn't.
But you told me earlier.
We shouldn't. First should be the Western Hemisphere. Don't forget about it, and then take care of the rest.
The order of operations.
That's my point. Yeah.
But should we be going anywhere? I mean, should we be going anywhere?
Only if it hurts the United States. Can we get rid of every
bad guy?
No. Only if he hurts the United States. And I know people say, well, then why are you doing it? Well, I mean, it's like if you have a business, right? Why would you get involved in a non-for-profit for a business? You know, or you want to, somebody that, for example, you need workers, right? And if you need workers, you're going to get involved with what non-for-profits that give you the ability to hire more workers, whatever that is, right? Not only, I don't know. I mean, what can I say? I mean, whatever that is. I mean, the mentality should be everybody, every institution, okay, should advocate for their needs. Mm-hmm. And that goes the same for countries. Mm-hmm. You know, countries should advocate for what they need. So if Ukraine needs help, right, because Russia is coming in, what is the benefit to the United States in getting involved in Ukraine? Okay? It's not only one doctrine, just because we do it in Ukraine, now we have to do it in Chile. Okay, it's totally different. Okay, and the realities are different. It's the same thing. You tackle a customer in a different way. You tackle another customer. You cannot be naive to think that now we're just gonna do the same to everybody. The playground is different. The playbook is different. I mean, Americans love sports analogy. I mean, you know, is IU going to tackle the same Miami as they tackle Oregon? Probably not. Mm-hmm. You know, they're going to use their strength. Yeah, they won big.
So tell me, are you rooting for Miami?
Yeah, right. But now Marco Rubio might.
Rubio's from Rubio.
Yeah. But no, I mean, the point is that you have to dribble, so to speak, in a different way, in the different situations.
You got to approach facts differently, but you still have to have principles. And I thought the principle of the president of the United States, I mean, my sense was that he was very much different than, say, the Bush Doctrine, where we're going to nation build in these different places. It was my sense that, I mean, Trump was very plain in that that was not really his cup of tea. Yeah. And so it was a shock to me when I watched some of the stuff.
So I will tell you.
We killed at least 40 people in that raid.
Half of them were Cubans.
Okay. Are they people?
Yep.
Okay. So just, you know, Marco Rubio's Cuban.
Yep.
Yep. You know, like people are
Point
people.
Taken.
People are people.
Yep.
But it makes you think, like, is the juice, and this is the podcast, is the juice worth the squeeze?
Yeah.
And I don't know. It will be determined if it is.
I think so I think I look at it like this again. I understand. It's much easier to sell the idea of a nation building based on principle of a democracy and all that. But the realistic way, I think, is the way Trump sees it, is what is the benefit for the United States? Because the better United States we have, the better the world is going to be. Okay? So Yeah, I mean, I remember when we had Russia and the United States, it was a very clear definition or difference between the United States and Russia, right? I mean, you were like with the United States are the good guys, and Russian, you know, all this stuff. We lost that, and now we have just these ideologies. We have three ideologies, big ideologies. You know, we have communism, socialism, you have Islam, and then you have Christianity and capitalism. And
Very different views.
very different view. So it's very easy to get you energized about the lofty goals of building nations and building what we're doing here everywhere in the world. Very lofty, very easy to build you up to that. It's very hard to say we are capitalistic pigs that only want the best for us, okay, and that's what we're gonna do. It's very hard to sell that. But which one is pragmatic? Which one is real, right? Because in the Islamic countries, they don't want our way of living. But I will tell you one thing: in Venezuela, they do want our way of living.
They have a Western base, but then they have they have a Marxist-Leninist background, which is a huge problem.
Yeah.
Alfonso, you were awesome.
This is recorded, so I'm gonna play it to my children because they don't believe that. Okay. So
no, this is fascinating. I think people need to know about it. I think our readers need to know about it. The people that listen to it. We've just started with this, and maybe you'll come back and give us an update
anytime.
10 years from now.
Yeah.
Better not be.
No. If you want to talk about this, let's we can bet on this, but it's 2 years.
Okay.
Max.
Okay. We're going to stay in touch. We're going to include some of these things in the show notes. I really want to get that USTA Today article that you wrote.
Yeah, sure. I'll send it.
And it's great to see you. You're a real blessing. Fascinating guy.
Thank you, man.
Alfonso Vidal. Thank you.
Thanks for watching The Juice by the Odin Journal. Tune in next week for more Daviess County news, freshly squeezed.